Adding too much details isn't always the best solution, and I will show you how I tackled this problem on this Macintosh detail from a comic book panel and how I simplified it to actually make it look better. Hi, I'm the Last Cartoon Hero, and on this channel I'm trying to share what I learned over 20 years, and I hope to be your mentor. I know it sounds cheesy, but I didn't have any mentor and I learned it the hard way, so I hope I can help you avoid those hardships. I used to try to be the perfect illustrator to compensate for my insecurities and life trauma. And being perfect wasn't working for me. It always made things worse because you are stressing out, put so much pressure on yourself, and at the end you're not happy because it's not possible to be perfect. I used to approach illustrating this way, and I was just stressed all the time, super unhappy and thinking that I'm really not good enough. At some stage I decided not to follow the perfection route, and still I was making new versions of the same illustration, and maybe that's why. And it is exactly why my comic book has taken me almost 15 years, well, exactly 15 years to finish, complete my debut. But now I'm kind of changing the strategy here, and if it's good enough, I'm alright with this. Unfortunately, many times it's not good enough, but it's good not to focus on overall detail, because you are you, and you look at this illustration, you spend time with this drawing, with illustration, and it is only you. Whoever's gonna be looking at your comic book, the reader, most of them will only glance it for a second or two, read a caption, bubble, speech, and move on to the next panel and to the next page. Because if they were consuming the way you draw it, they would never finish reading your stuff, because it would take them ages if they were hyper focused on one illustration, judging and, you know, trying to figure out every single detail that there is. So you put all those details there, and overall they will look nice, but they don't really matter, because nobody's gonna notice that this line is a little bit askew, or this small detail is not exactly 100% right in comparison to another panel. So it doesn't matter. The thing that you should focus on is the bigger picture, and that's what I'm trying to focus right now. I still put a lot of detail in my comics, but not in every single panel. The composition and the panel composition, page composition, works this way: that you should establish the location, then establish the interior or outerior, the outside of a place, but then you don't need to draw a background every single time. In this particular comic book panel, I am drawing the entire location, which is like a bookshelf, and on one of those bookshelves is a Macintosh inspired computer. To draw this, I downloaded a couple of references. Well, normally I would download too many references. We are talking about 20, 30, 40, 50, and it's like, instead of drawing, you're just downloading those references like a madman. Not recommended. Download the bare minimum to get you going. So the references is number one: how to draw anything, anywhere, at any time, which is not too detailed. And then I would need to figure it out, and this is the most important, how this item actually looks from every angle. What I noticed is, in order to draw something correctly, you need to understand how it works and how it looks. Especially the smaller the item it is, the easier it is to imagine it or find a 3D model to see how it looks from every angle. And then even if your reference isn't exactly the way you want to draw it, which is always, it's beneficial because we don't want to copy one-to-one. What's the point? So you can add your own flair to it, your own style, do it your way. And I could spend hours on this, trying to make every line exactly perfect as per reference, to match the shape exactly with the reference and the keyboard as well, but it would look very dull, very boring. Instead, because it's a small detail, it's like this size, right? It's exactly like this size, okay? Like this. it needs to be clearly understandable for the viewer. So I simplified the keys a lot, didn't even render every single key, and this way it looks more interesting as well. And for the computer, I only focus on the most iconic lines and characteristics of it. Same with the mouse. It's not by far a perfect mouse representation of Macintosh mouse from the 1984, but it is good enough and it's fun. And this is exactly why simplicity makes the most sense when you're trying to work on comic books. If you're working on one single piece, you can commit much more resources and time to create like a poster, a print, and you can actually play around if it gives you pleasure. Play around with those details, and I shall, because I love those details, but they drag me to hell. Please let me know, are there any topics or questions you may have? Thanks for watching, subscribe, I see you in the next one. Bye!